What's going on, YouTube? It's Harry here. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth on a kind of a subject I've already talked on a little bit. Existing in this world as pretty much neither female or male. So, what do I mean by this? What's going on, right? So, let's take the last 5 years, for example. I'm 30, so from, my 20s in general. So the 20s, it's a time when, you're figuring things out, and gender can be one of those, but you're kind of also just figuring out how to be an adult in this world and what that means. And for me, it was only my experience. I've only lived my experience, but I kind of feel like I could be an observer at times because I was never truly treated as female and I was never truly treated as male. I was just a person. And honestly, that kind of just, I'm not going to say I got the worst of everything, but I definitely didn't get the best of anything. So, traditionally female things that I have never really had happen to me. I've never been bought a drink. I've never been hit on by strange men. I've never had to deal with men being obnoxious with me and trying to get my number and being very physically aggressive as well as just rude in general. I've never had really anyone go out of their way to open a door for me or to ask if I needed help with anything or carry something for me or something like that. But with that, I've also never been really thought of as being an authority, as a male figure. I've never been given the benefit of being competent or any of those traditionally masculine roles of being smart in a certain way, like science or math or whatever. I've never been told to pick something up for someone or heavy, or open the door for someone, or help someone cross the street, or anything like that. So it's been like this really strange existence of I can see where, for example, my twin sister, who is very feminine, she has had a lot of the traditionally female things happen. Even when I walk around with her, I see how much differently she is treated. She, all the doors are opened, men are much more friendly and talkative to her. They also do look at her probably more inappropriately as well, but she gets more attention. She's desired, shall we say. Or seeing that with guys, of seeing them being asked to do the more physical things or to be more authoritative and to be leaders and all of that. And then there's just me. And I know that these are all stereotypes. And my masculine, my male observance isn't as strong as my female observance from the sheer fact of in my adult life, have really only been able to see the female perspective from friends. I haven't really seen the male perspective. From that perspective, for me, I still see how different I'm treated, even simply going out to eat and how the waiter treats you, or how people interact with you on the streets as you're walking. I've never had anyone, I don't think, be afraid that I'm following too close behind them on a sidewalk or anything. I've never felt really that scared either. It's just been this weird in-between thing, and that makes it really hard when you're trying to figure out your gender because because society hasn't told you how to act, you don't have an opposite to go on, if that makes sense. You don't get to, you don't have a baseline, really. So without that baseline, you can't be this fits or this doesn't fit. You're kind of just seen as a person, which is a great thing, but you're not really seen as a person who has gender. And so it's hard to come into, if that makes sense. It's hard to be this is what I want and this is what makes me feel good, or this is what makes me feel bad. And that makes it difficult to determine your gender a little bit and to figure out where you fall from a strictly gender role, not even strictly gender role, but from a societal standpoint, because you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be treated feminine, and I don't know what it's like to be treated as masculine either. for as much as I am seen as masculine, it doesn't mean that I am given that benefit of the doubt of being male, if that makes sense. So, I don't know, I was talking to some of my friends about this, some queer ladies, and it was interesting to hear their perspective as well, because one is a little bit more androgynous, and even a couple of other friends who I've talked to who are a little bit more androgynous, they've had similar things of like, oh, well, yeah, like, I've been bought drinks, and I've had, this, maybe not often, but it's happened. But for the more masculine-looking women, that's never a thing. That's never been any type of behavior that has been directed towards me. Like, I've never been sought out because of my looks, because, oh, I want to be chatty with you and this is how I flirt with you. That's never happened to me. Maybe it has, and I have just ignored it because I'm a very ignorant person and because I never felt myself worthy of being flirted with. That's very possible, but we're not going to get into therapy sessions with Harry. We're going to just talk about strict observations. So, I guess that with a long story being short, not a great topic, I know, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there that, like, I feel like an observer from both sides, and it hasn't helped me to make my decision on if I'm trans or not. And I know that that's not the strict reason that you have that you're trans. There's also many different types of dysphoria, and one of those being social dysphoria, which I feel very strongly. I just didn't know it. And I also didn't realize that I felt it because I just felt like I was in the middle. But when I'm treated like female, I feel awful. I don't like it. That puts me into a very big depression, and it's very dysphoric for me. But when I'm treated as male, it feels a hell of a lot better. So I don't know if anyone can relate to that, if anyone's been a little bit more masculine presenting for most of their life and has gone through life as this kind of in-between thing that people don't really know how to handle because you aren't male or female. Let me know. You should leave a comment, and I look forward to hearing from you. And there'll be more coming on topics like this, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, right? Anyway, thanks for letting me talk, even though it was a little bit of a rambling, and thanks for understanding that everything I say isn't necessarily solid, and I understand that there's stereotypes and gender roles, and I understand the difference, but we can also kind of use them as decision-making tools as well. Because for as much as we want to hope that certain things exist outside of society in like a vacuum, they don't. So gender roles are also very important because that's how our society functions. And you want to be comfortable in society, don't you? To an extent. You don't necessarily want to be weird in everything you do. At least I don't. I like being weird, but I don't like being weird in everything. Anyway, have a great day, y'all. Bye now.